Hey guys, Mike the Vike here, back for yet another Rust base tours. Now it's been quite a while since I've done one of these videos, and after getting enough requests, I realized I gotta do one. So the first base we're going to be taking a look at is BMC's base, or compound. This thing is quite large, as you can see. A little bit ridiculous. I like this base because it's got a lot of components to it. It's not just a simple base and maybe some quarries. There's a lot going on. The first component of the base is this little thing here, and this is actually just for slaves. They have a lot of slaves that farm for them, and this is where they house them, which is pretty funny. If you take a look on the inside, it's pretty barren, because obviously they don't want to spend too many resources on these guys. But, you know, it's just pretty simple. Okay. People, you know, just boxes, beds, random people that work for them. And it's quite simple. There's nothing really to show on the inside. But, yeah, it's a slave base. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Then we have a little tower here. This, I would assume, is for helis and stuff like that. Potentially base defense if that's an issue. And then we might as well get down to it. Here's the main compound. This is the star of the show. I'm sure we've all seen now quite a few of these bases that have these outer towers, but it's still cool to show them off. This is obviously strictly for defense, nothing too complicated here, just simple wood doors. They've got 2 layers for defense, and with 6 outposts total, I mean, you're pretty much set. Now, in order to get into the actual compound, there is no door or gate. It's actually a build-up base, so you have to climb this situation here and then cross. Probably the best way to do it for security. Once these twig things are gone, it's going to be really annoying for raiders to get across here, so you're pretty much, you're going to need to get TC access and then build up. That's going to be a pain though, because there's a lot of tool cupboards. I think that you're kind of forced then to go through this wall, I guess. So if you were trying to raid this, I'm sure you can realize this would take quite a lot of materials. Once you get past the build-up part, we're greeted with the actual base. This thing is basically just a ridiculous amount of honeycomb. They do have a few square foundations in the design, all the way around in a star shape, and that's good because it's nice to have ladder hatches and stuff. Now, this is the middle of the base. I'm kind of in the core. There are 2 stories of loot. One is fake, one's real, but it's a really clean, simple way of organizing everything. You can see in each room, of course, it's just cleanly organized. The boxes are in there. And if they need more space, they do expand, which is nice. Now, this is a few stories down, and here it gets a little bit complicated. I'm sure you can imagine if you were raiding this, it would be kind of difficult to figure out where the loot is. There's so many doors and different areas and layers. Here's one of the loot rooms, though. Got the fancy DOA boxes. I would love to know what DOA stands for. Like what? Dead on arrival? That's what I think of. I guess not, though. I like the furnaces on the top. I've seen this before, I don't know, I think people just like putting these up almost for decoration purposes. The towers are kind of for decoration too, honestly. Like, would you really want to climb all the way over to the towers? Like, when you have this main area with all these windows, I don't know if it's necessary. Anyway, it looks cool regardless, so do the furnaces, and overall, I think you can tell this would be a very challenging base to raid. Next base we're going to look at is a little bit smaller, but still interesting. This one is KG's clan, and they got some unique stuff, so let's take a look.
Well, we tried to go for a double-walled design. That was a bitch to put up, but we wanted to make watchtowers on all 5 ends to cover us, but that didn't work out too well. We got roof camped by the base up there.
So there was a brief description of the base. Sounds like they had some conflicts when they were trying to build it up. But I think the neat thing about this one is just the double walling design. That last one was not double walled, it was just normal honeycomb. Normally on double walls there's like a little bit of a gap, but these guys figured it out. And they got a pretty nice situation here. Although this base is a lot smaller than the previous one, I wouldn't be surprised if this one is as good against a raid or even better than the other one, just because of the double walling, which just is such a big advantage. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get all their towers up, but that's okay because I really just don't think they're that useful anyways. Okay, this next one isn't really a normal base. This is actually just for furnaces, but it's worth showing off because it just looks really cool. Probably the most unique looking furnace base I've ever seen. So of course they got 3 furnaces in here, but I guess what's interesting is that they went to the trouble of double walling the entire thing. So I presume there must be an awful lot of metal and sulfur in these furnaces, so they really don't want people to get at these. I'm liking the skin on the door, that looks really cool. Even the TCs on the outside are crazy. Like, look at that design. That is awesome. I'm not sure, I could be wrong about this not being their main base, but it doesn't look like it. Still really, really impressive. I'm loving the design on the TC. Right in the center here, you're gonna have a bad time. Imagine making even more of these and having some decoys. This is like the top tier of furnace base, or even just a regular base. It's quite impressive regardless. Next is quite an interesting little compound. Firstly, they got another interesting looking furnace base. Some really interesting designs coming out of this double walling thing. Quite a nice stack going here. You can tell they don't want people messing with their TCs. They have the high externals around them, and then they have a pretty basic honeycomb situation for them. Not as good as the other base, but still pretty good. Then you get to the actual base, and it's just a pretty basic honeycomb. These guys decided to put up the roof setup for the top. Might be one of my preferred defense setups for roofs, because you can peek from any level on these. Okay guys, that's all I got this week for base tours. I know probably not the most fantastic episode ever, however this is usually what happens when I haven't done something like this for a while, so bear with me. Next one will probably have like more interviews and stuff like that. With that said, I still think some pretty interesting designs. I still feel like there's room for improvement in this series. Like, I just want to get more information to you guys, because I feel like there isn't enough. However, people have been pretty positive on this series and they have been liking it, so I guess I'll just keep going either way. Anyways, this was of course recorded on my modded server. It's a 2xGather server with kits, TP, and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're interested in like a slightly easier Rust experience, maybe a little bit less grindy, feel free to join. There's info on how to join in the description. That's all I got for today's video. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to leave a like, helps a ton. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.